Tracy, Peter Vickery, Kathleen Refkin, myself, Lisa Whalen, and also staff present is Jasper Krugel and Brian Grimm, David Abel, and let's see, Deputy Chief Deputy Chief Pat Cummings, Chief, okay, you guys, yeah, that's Craig Squires, and that's it. So with that, oh, and then is Ann, I think Ann Meyerhoff is, and then Gary Peters. Are you there, Gary?
Oh my God.
Yes, I am.
Hi. I hope you're doing better. But thank you for joining us. I hope it's not too painful. And then who else? Sarah Sensala is here as well. Those three are joining us remotely. So we have a number of items on our agenda. We have our street improvement project for 2027. Then we're going to talk about the Bosma property, and then utility billing process, and then an update of Boulevard tree replacement at Hunter's Crest if we have time. If we run out of time, we'll just add that to our regular meeting under business items. So we're going to start with street improvement projects. I'm going to hand this over to Allison right away.
Thank you, Mayor Whalen. So Mayor Whalen, Council, included in your packet is a summary of some project areas that Public Works and Engineering has defined as some potential areas for a 2027 street improvement project. Preliminary discussions on budget for 2027 range between $600,000 and $700,000. So Council, we do acknowledge that there is a project area, the Painters Road, Painters Creek area, the rural residential area, that exceeds that amount, but we did want to just bring that to council's attention that is an area that we've talked about previously, and what the current estimated budget is for that project area. That is a reclamation area based on pavement cores that were taken back in 2022. Another area identified is Ridgewood Cove, just off County Road 110. It's an older area, and the street, based on the street condition score, we're assuming it would be a reclamation. However, we did want to bring this to discussion for council because there is no water main within that roadway. So if this is a roadway that the council would like to consider for a project next year, staff would like to have a conversation on what we would like to see done with water main. Should we engage with the residents? Do we want to look at open cut versus like a traditional installation method for the water main, or would we want to look at a trenchless technology? There are pros and cons to each. I don't want to get too much in the details, but just to let council know that there have been a lot of conversations about this, and we just want to make sure that we're doing a thorough scope when we look at bringing these potential project areas up to council. The third area is Marina Drive, just off Sunnyfield Road over by the high school. That one we anticipate would be a full depth reclamation. Again, we would need some pavement cores to confirm that. And then the last area, which hits right around the high end of the budget that the council had been considering, is the island, except for Tuxedo Road and Enchanted Lane, which was done in 2018. So those roads out there, they're ranging between 43 and 67 for pavement condition scores. And we're anticipating full depth reclamation of that area. And then there was also, I believe, and I don't recall the name of the street off the top of my head, but there was one road that we may want to look at paving, and I think Gary might be able to speak to that if the council would like to discuss that. But in short, those are the four areas that we as staff have been discussing, and we were just at a point where we wanted to bring it to council for discussion and to answer any questions you might have and get some guidance on what you'd like to see for a proposed project next year.
Thank you. Couple questions for Brian right away. What do we have, what do you anticipate that we will have in our fund balance for road projects such as this? Because we're going to be levying more dollars next year, but right now, what do we have in the fund balance available for next year?
Around $2 million, and that's what's sitting in the fund balance right now. We're levying $400,000 this year because we sort of dropped that down because we did the 2026, but I think right in the fund balance right now, there's just shy, I think, of like 2 million, 1.92 million.
And we're not using that for projects this year?
We might have to tap into it a little bit because we're levying 400,000 depending on what we, do here. if we pick this, 700,000, I think originally, I think it was like we did the bond project last year, we were going to do a little less, this year or whatever, but
I just want to,
how much
yeah.
the council, how aggressive they want to be, and if they want to save some of that fund balance for 28 or 29, or not have to bond as much in the future. So, I mean, I guess, to the original question, there's about 2 million in the fund.
And then, okay, so 2 million right now could possibly roll over to next year. And then next year, we're going to be levying possibly, if we do the same, at least 400. So there's going to be 2.4 million.
Yeah, if you add in next
Give 'em-
project.
okay.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because every year these projects get more and more expensive, and it doesn't seem to make sense to have a fund balance sitting there not doing anything when we should be spending it. That's my opinion. And we should be doing as many roads as we possibly can, especially since we're specifically levying for them.
We are, it just depends on how the council wants to look at year 1,
Right.
2, and 3, and if they want to, as
Right.
mentioned earlier, not maybe bond as much, use some of the fund balance, and depending what the scope of the projects are going to be, like in 28, 29. I mean, we've had years in the not too distant past where we did, was it
Right.
23, we did like 6 million worth of roads or
Right.
whatever. So that's how the council has got to look at it more globally, as far as whatever you spend now is something. And to your point, Mary, I mean, obviously things keep going up in cost, but whatever you spend now is what you don't have available later. So I mean, that's the flip side of it, I guess, so.
Yeah, and I thought we were trying to build it up for when we have to do Hunter's Crest and everything in 2028. We were doing less, knowing that we were going to have the big projects in 2 more years.
Well, the other thing I was looking at is when do our bonds, some of the existing debts for the roads that we've done, when do they fall off?
None really any soon. The
I
Highland
think we
Road,
have 29.
Yeah,
It comes off in 29, doesn't it?
Uh,
Isn't there one?
like 2030, 31. I mean, like Game Farm Road drops off, like I think in 2030, 31. Highland drops off, but we're using state aid dollars. We're not using tax levy. For
Right, so that's kind of a,
I just sort of got it there.
Yeah, we have,
Just Minnetrista.
we have some equipment certificates falling off this year, which are 101,000.
Not road related though.
Not road related.
Roads.
not
Yeah.
road, right.
Highland Road is going to fall off next year. Then the next one is equipment certificates, and Kings Point Road falls off in 2030. So
That's just, yeah,
but that's not very much.
that was just the non-developer portion, water sewer funds. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, the next road one is probably Game Farm Road, really in 20.
I mean, it's kind of
2031.
a horse apiece, really, when you look at it. I mean, you either spend the money now, or you save it and don't spend or don't bond for as much in the future, or you spend, I don't know, it's a horse apiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can I ask a question? On the island, so much of that is mound. For what we're doing, do we match up with, do they fix the roads on the other sides at the same time? You know how the island's all kind of cut up? It's different.
It'd probably be a
Minnetrista comes in a really weird spot on the island.
Gary Allison
So
question, I
it would,
guess.
it seems weird to make it pretty and then have it falling apart on this end and this end. Are they planning on,
They've already done that. I mean, that.
so we've just left our
road
part?
is brand new. It's
okay.
just a few years old. It's a tuxedo.
Gary, did you want to pipe in?
Yeah, the mound roads are already done.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay.
Well, that area is pretty dense too. There are a lot of houses and I drove through there this afternoon. I can tell you it's probably a good
Do some
idea
research.
to Work on that.
On a road dollar per house basis, that looks like that's the,
Yeah, that's
Well,
kind
if it's going to be a reclamation or reconstruct, then there's going to be assessments. So I think to your point, then it would be lower assessments per household or per property.
Yeah.
Right.
It was 1973 that it was built, so.
What staffs, I mean, do you have any, Gary, Allison, any recommendations?
Mayor, I think that staff, in my opinion, staff's brought forward some good recommendations. And we just, wanted to put it in the council chamber is here for discussion. I don't know if Gary has some opinions on, from a maintenance standpoint, if they're seeing if he's seen his crews out in one area more than others.
My staff saw it a lot on the island. Of course, there are a lot down there on Painter's Circle too that's kind of falling apart, but most bang for your buck, I think the island would be nice to get that done.
Mhm.
I mean, the island fits in the budget for the most part, assuming it's not underpriced.
And it will be an accessible project.
So do we know approximately what the assessments would be? I mean, would they be like 3,000, 4,000?
Mayor, I don't know. I didn't do a
Okay.
unit count out there. We can certainly, if that's something the council would like to know, I can bring that back for an information's sake. But I think if I'm hearing council, and seeing nodding heads in support of the island, our next step would be to get those, get some cores out there to see, maybe there are some areas where we can get by with a mill and overlay, so that we can really hone in on what the scope of the project would be, and then staff could provide a unit count out there for council to see what the,
So the whole road was built in 73? Do we really need cores? Because presumably wouldn't we just do the whole thing and make it all brand new and nice at the same time?
Mayor Whalen, Councilmember Rufkin, that's a great question. So part of the cores, not only do they tell us what kind of street project you want to do, but it's also important information for the contractors to have, so that we know what kind of, how much reclaiming they need to do, because if an area has been heavily patched and it has a significant amount of pavement on it, it costs more for the contractor to grind that up. So we want to know that. So we still would need some information out there. But to your point, yeah,
I mean, if
they're older
the whole road
roads.
is 73, from 73, I would recommend just fixing and
Well,
redoing the whole
that's,
thing.
I think what they're recommending.
Well, she
they're
just said
saying,
some of
yeah.
it might need a mill and overlay, so just,
No, I
maybe
think-
we just,
Cross fingers.
If we're gonna do it, then fix the whole thing.
Exactly, yeah. Okay,
Just one question on
Yeah.
or just kind of for information on the Ridgewood Cove. Is there any requirement to add water? Or I take it they're all on wells then, and
Correct. So they're all on wells. I'm not aware of anything that would require the city to extend water. But when you look at doing a street improvement project, where if it's a reclamation project, the intent between the reclamation and the maintenance that the council's been supportive of, we're trying to get 40-year-old, streets to last us for 40 years. And so the question becomes, do we want to do a surface pavement improvement that'll last 40 years, which then says for the next 40 years, you won't have water extended. So it's never, my experience is it's never been the right time for everybody to get the water extended, right? You've always got some people who are ready for it and others who've just spent money on their well. So
I think most people want to keep their wells.
And that could very well be, and that's why staff wanted to bring it to council for discussion. If that was something that, if council wanted to start looking at a street improvement project with that, in that area, then we would want to have that discussion of, well, what about water main extension?
I just remember when we did Jennings Cove, they said absolutely not. And it was a pretty unanimous no, a pretty firm no.
Twice as
So,
much money.
I don't know. Well, that's not the case for Enchanted, though. There is no water out there.
Correct, there's sewer out there.
Right, but there's no water anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't even know where if Mound has any through there.
I don't think they would want Mound's water. Okay,
That's a fair.
okay.
So, is that the direction I'm hearing, is to come through? Okay, so our next step will be, we'll get some cores ordered out there. I'll work with Gary while I can here to make sure we're getting the scope right. And then we'll come back with that information to council with a unit count, so you can kind of get a flavor for what you'd be looking at for potential assessments.
Okay, so just a quick question then. If it does end up being 720, does that include engineering and project management and the whole kit and caboodle?
That's correct. That's a budget number. So
Okay.
that includes construction and
Then the question is, what is the Hunter's Crest, what are we estimating today, what it would cost to do all of those roads?
goodness.
Gary, do you remember?
I don't remember.
Is it 4 million?
It was 4.6.
Sorry, I was off. So my question then to council is, you're still going to have to bond for 1.5, 1.7 million approximately, or 3.
Yeah,
3.
closer to 3, and that's few and burden.
Yeah, so I'm just asking, do you want to do more? So I guess you can look and say 3 years out, we're going to bond, or 2 years out, we're going to bond 4.6 million, or you bond 2.8 or 3 million. And in the meantime, we're sitting on $2 million that we're not spending. I mean, I'm just putting this into context. So the question is, besides Enchanted, and I'm not pushing any road on here because obviously I'm on Painter Road, I'd get assessed, I don't care, but I'm not pushing that. I'm just saying, do you want to do maybe another one that's 250 or you know, you want to consider that?
Mayor, if I may.
Yeah.
So Hunter's Crest, keep in mind, originally, I think that $4.6 million number was, there were some mill and overlays
Right.
throughout there with some reclamation in key areas. Now I think it is, with some cores, we'll likely have to reclaim almost all of it. We'll have to see, because that was in
Right.
2024, I think, when we originally came up with that number, or 2025.
Yeah, within the last year or two.
Yeah, so we'll have to look at it again. That might all be reclamation, which would all be accessible at that point too, so there'll be another revenue stream there, but the 4.6 might not be,
It might be late.
yeah.
So even if it's 5.2 and we have 2 million we're still bonding for 3.2. So I'm just asking if, you know, if you take the 2 million that we currently have and we don't use any of that, you're okay? I don't care one way or the other. I'm just throwing it out for thought because.
I mean, I think we set a budget for the 2027 and we should try and stick with it. I mean, and this assumes that the estimate of 720 is accurate. For all we know, it can come back and be $1 million and then.
It's not going to be $1 million.
I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, we set the budget, we should see if this comes in within the budget and then possibly go from there after the engineers look at it.
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the 720, this is the total, right? So technically it would be less out of the road fund because of assessments to the houses.
Yeah, we'd upfront it, and then we'd get assessments. Some would prepay, some would come back. But yeah, basically it would be less than the 720, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, well,
And
that's 60.
generally, in Minnetrista, we've seen about a 40% prepay assessments. So about 40% prepay,
Yeah, so if it's 100,000
Yeah.
assessments, we get, yeah, the 40 right off
Right.
the bat, and then there was 60 over time.
which goes right back into our road fund.
Yep.
So,
So I like Kathleen's idea, because if we see how
Right.
the prepay assessments come in and all that, if we've got some
well,
more.
you can't wait till for that, because those prepaid assessments aren't going to be coming in until next November.
Right, but we can
Yeah.
get the engineers out there, do the coring, get an updated assessment of what they think it'll cost. And then
What
decide
the
if
cost
we add
is,
more.
but not.
Well, and then we
yeah.
know how many homes too will be assessed. So that's a good idea as well, breaking down what the city's fronting versus what the residents are paying.
So we have done that in the past, where all of a sudden
Right.
we think it's going to be $1 million, and the engineer's estimate and comes in at 800,000, then we
Yeah, then we add more to it.
for 100 or 200,000 or whatever, so.
Okay, all right.
Is there a second place area that you guys would maybe want to, you know, if we get to that point that we look at, like the next?
Well, if you're going to look at another one, then you'd have to look at the next least expensive one, which would be Marina, I think, Marina Drive.
They're both pretty close, Marina or Ridgewood, I guess, depending on which one needs it more. I mean, they're within a 30.
Now,
More homes on it.
well, I think Ridgewood has more homes. Marina Drive only has about 10 houses, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, so then Ridgewood would make more sense.
Yeah.
I think mayor and council, the challenge, well, maybe it's just in my eyes, is if Ridgewood would be, if there was a desire for water, there's a little bit more discussion with that one, whereas Marina Drive, you know, it's already got utilities in, there is that development on the south end that has not yet extended their utilities, but their utility plan shows it coming up in, within their, the mid, along the backyards and side yards there, so.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, I think Marina's a little more straightforward than Ridgewood.
Okay.
Can Can we find out if people on Ridgewood would want city water?
We certainly could reach out to them. I think that, in my opinion, we'd want to see because if Ridgewood then becomes extension of water main, then we're not just looking at necessarily a reclamation project, which would, if we did a full reconstruct like we saw on Morning View area, now the cost for reconstruction is more than the reclamation project. So we're looking at an even higher, potentially higher.
So that'd be good to know then if the residents are interested or not, because if it's not, then it's substantially cheaper.
Okay. Okay, so is the direction from council then to go and reach out to residents of Ridgewood then to see if there's a desire for water extension?
Well, I think that would be the next step. Let's do the first step first.
Okay.
Island first, and then see where costs and assessments and all of that come in.
Yeah, you don't want to get people's hopes up.
Yeah.
Almost.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was getting the order of operations
They won't
correct.
want city water.
Depends on the wording.
And I don't know if we're going to be able to drill down and get more accurate numbers. Really, we won't have accurate numbers until we get the bids back, which won't be until February. That would be too late to do a project then in 27. But if you could drill down a little bit and come back with, if you can refine the numbers a little bit more, I don't know, but then maybe we can make a better decision.
Well, Mayor Whalen, I when we look at, we're in May here talking about the next year's projects. We are ahead of schedule, which is great. I think Gary's done a great job of getting these projects in front of council sooner rather than later. If it's palatable with council, we could get an earlier start on a feasibility report for this area, get some more refined numbers, and then within that feasibility report, you would have an updated estimated cost. And then at that point, if we play it out, it would be probably late summer. You would have an updated cost, and then at that point, to go and to revisit Ridgewood and see if there's a potential for a project over there.
Yeah, but you're still not going to get it out for bid in January. It's probably going to be more like late February or even early March.
It'd be further out, yes. And that's the challenge with the timing of it.
So then the question would be, so let's just say we do that. There's a cost for the feasibility study. So then if we decide not to do it in 27, would that then be on the radar for 28? And that's a council question. Because I wouldn't want to spend the money for a feasibility study, not do it in 27, but then not do it who knows when. So I think you'd either have to say, okay, we're going to queue it up for 28 if we don't do it in 27, or else we don't do the feasibility study now.
Well, I mean, that's fine. We can budget it for 28 if we can't do it in 27 because we have the money, so.
Yeah, and that's the other one that was 1973 too, so.
Right.
Those are the two
Old ones.
Extremely old roads.
Okay, all right. So that's what we'll do. We'll check with Ridgewood people if they want water or not. We'll do the feasibility study for Ridgewood Cove, bring that back hopefully August.
So just to make sure I'm clear, is the request to bring in a proposal to do feasibility study on both the island and Ridgewood?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. We
can certainly do that.
Here's what synopsis. We're going to do the island for sure. We're looking at Ridgewood Cove as a possibility, so we're going to do the feasibility study now to determine if we're going to add it to the 27 or if it's going to go into the 28 project.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
I was just looking it up because if my memory serves correctly, a feasibility study is valid on a 429 project is considered valid for 1 year. And so if we do the feasibility study this year and the project is not a 2027 project, but a 2028, I'll have to refresh my memory on
I
that.
thought it was 18 months, no?
Can we
It's
start the
12?
429 process early and just say the project's not going to be done until this time? I mean.
I think the best thing to do is I hear what the council direction is, and then I can I can do the research and get that exact date.
Yeah.
See, is it 12 months or the 18 months? And then bring that forward for council. And you know, like I said, we certainly have time to do it. And then I've got all the correct information in front of council.
Okay, so feasibility study for Island for sure, and you're going to check on the Ridgewood Cove feasibility study, how long that's good for?
Correct.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you.
All right, Bosma property update.
Madam Mayor, members of council, we have an update with that we've included in the packet regarding, we'll call it the Bosma property, but it is the property located at 9550 West Hill Road. We've talked about it a few times. On April 17th, the police went out and did an inventory with their cameras and grabbed some stills out of there. Our building official team, or building inspection team was also out there as well. So I think we're to a point where I think we've documented all of the items that are on the site. I think from the video, if you look at it, you can see it's pretty unsightly. I can pull those up if you'd like.
Please do.
Yeah.
So I can do that.
Just dead animal carcasses.
So what we need to determine tonight, or what staff is looking for direction, is just how to proceed. If we want to declare the site a nuisance, that's one thing. If we want to then proceed with a nuisance abatement order, that's another thing. We did invite the property owner to this meeting to maybe engage with the kind of conversation with city council about what they're doing and what they've done. I know that Police Chief Squires just drove by there today to see once if there is progress being made, so he could possibly provide an update on that. But really looking for a timeline if we do want to declare it a nuisance, and then if we do that, then abate the nuisance.
Okay, let's see the video.
All right.
Who's the producer? No, just kidding.
Are those tabs all expired?
There's more than I thought would be that are current, but the majority of them are expired, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, these aren't just cars. This is, I mean, it's.
that is a lot of stuff.
There's a log splitter for you.
I was going to say the fan works.
Looks like it might work.
Well timed, David.
That was hilarious, Dave. Didn't see the mayor in that truck.
I don't drive trucks.
Wow.
He recycles.
What would this cost? And why wouldn't he? Because there's got to be a lot of, like, what do you call it when you get rid of the scrap metal?
Scrap metal.
Oh, this is.
Can you imagine the roads?
I don't know. That looks really expensive.
Apparently there's longer versions.
All right. Staff?
Yeah, so what we're looking for is just direction on timeline, because I think the video itself shows there is probably a nuisance that could be declared. In the packet itself, you can see all the definitions of nuisances in our city code. We have to look at it and determine which ones of those are in violation, but just from looking at it, it appears there's likely numerous. So looking for direction. We have Sarah here to answer any specific questions. To my knowledge, I don't think we've done a nuisance abatement here in Minnetrista. So it's quite the process. It does take some time once it happens. We'll have to go through that process if that's what we want to do. The soonest we could bring something forward is likely June 1st, if that's what the direction is. But we're looking to get that direction.
It's a nuisance.
I know, but I feel bad for this person. Clearly, they don't have the funds to and the ability to take this on. Is there any kind of organization we could call to try to, if it's ultimately going to cost, let's say, $100,000 to clean it up, if we could even get some scrap metal place to take 20,000 of it, I'm just making up a number here, that would help, wouldn't it?
Well, what we can do though is we can say you have to have it cleaned up by such and such a date. And then, so they would have the option of calling somebody in or taking it to a scrap metal person themselves. But as you can see, there's more than just, there's garbage here. I mean, there's no other way of putting it.
Yeah, I get it.
So
just, you've met them clearly. Are they elderly, infirm? What is the?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, Councilwoman Lacey, the gentleman who owns it's, I believe, 87, and then he has kids who help him out too at the property. So there is family that can assist him with it, but I believe they all kind of work together, scrapping. So it's kind of, I think, a family business unofficially.
Doesn't really look like they turn it in anywhere.
No.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
Right. Brian?
Yeah, I think it's a nuisance.
It's definitely a nuisance.
All right. So if we go down this path, it may cost the city pretty penny, and the only way we would ever get it back is would go on their taxes. They would have to pay it. So they might, yeah, and it.
So I think what the mayor's trying to say, if it's 50 or 100,000, we obviously don't have anything budgeted for that. So that would have to be decided by the council. I mean, I can give recommendations, I guess, but the council would have to decide where you're pulling that money from. Because we don't have a nuisance scrap pile of
Right.
fund, I guess.
Yeah.
And then do we wait till they die to reclaim it? Or, do we just make them sell the property to pay it?
Well, there's different ways of.
I can kind of go through the process of what could happen. We don't know. We could declare it a nuisance, go in and have somebody abate that nuisance. That would be hiring somebody to do that, similar to what you said. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll take into account what that might be worth, and they'll be able to, bring it, make some money off of it, right? Once that happens, we get the bill, we have to pay the bill, the city does. And then we say, okay, property owner, you have until this day to pay the bill. And if they don't pay the bill, then it gets assessed to their property taxes. They then have 1 year to pay that off, I believe. And then after that, if they don't pay, then you start going down the tax forfeiture process. That could take anywhere from 3 to 4 years for that to finally get finalized. In that meantime, we run the risk of them, let's say we abate it, they could bring in more materials.
Right.
So it's a sensitive thing. We want to move fairly quickly if we do get it, so we kind of start that process. But to Brian's point, it could be, I talked to a junk hauler about a year ago now, and they were estimating between 50 to 100,000 to move it without just looking at the air photo. So they'd have to get on site to get a good, we'd have to get quotes and whatnot to find somebody to do it.
But has someone said this is the process, what'll happen? Do they know? Or, because just saying to them, you got to clean this up, they clearly don't possess the skills to do that. So do they know what the city's going to do next?
They do. So they know if they don't do it and we declare it a nuisance, that we can come in there and remove it and then assess it to their property taxes.
If all this stuff is, they'll think about it. If all this stuff is removed from the property will be a whole lot more valuable than what it is today. And technically, or they could maybe go and get a loan to pay off pay it off. I'm just saying that they might have options. They maybe even can they come to the city and work out a payment plan, or does it have to be within a year?
We could come up with the terms of the assessment if we wanted to, I believe. But just to kind of wrap it all up, if they choose not to pay it and it goes into tax forfeiture, they forfeit their land, the county will then auction it off. It'll hit one of the county auctions. a lot of times, and we don't have to agree to this, what the county will do is ask the city to remove the assessment that we put on the property so that it's more sellable.
No way.
And we can say no, and then they'll say, well, we won't be able to sell it, and then it's off the tax roll anyway. So that's kind of the process. I don't know if, Sarah, if there's anything I missed that you wanted to add, but it takes a long time. It's unknown what the actual outcome will be at the end of like a 5-year period. We hope that it's good, but I think there will be progress made. It's just unfortunate that they probably have a window to bring more material in if they would like.
And if I could add one thing too, he does have an attorney, so he is being counseled on everything that's going on, so he's aware of the consequences, both civil and criminal.
Do we have the ability to do any kind of like civil settlement agreement with them to like incent them to at least start the process so that it's not the city driving it, that at least they have an opportunity to?
Yeah.
So we kind of have that not in writing, but we've been working with them for over a year and saying, you got to start making progress. If we wanted to have something they agree to, it'd just be another thing that we'd have to kind of make sure they're following, which I don't know if we feel they would. And then we'd just be back to square one. But I think it's something to discuss with them if we could come up with an agreement. They say, well, we need 2 years. Right, if they say we need 2 years to clean this up, that'd be something that we could consider. It's been this way for 30 years. So if we have to wait 2 years for it to get cleaned up on its own accord, I think that would be something to consider.
Not for the neighbors.
Yeah.
I think it needs to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
Someone bought the property, they could clean that up really quick. So I want to help them. I really do. I'd spend a day making phone calls trying to find some way to mitigate the cost of that, and I feel terrible because he's an elderly gentleman, but at 2 years, no way.
Well, and I don't think they've made any attempt to clean it up. Like they haven't started hauling stuff away since this has been brought up. They don't appear to care. So it's not like they're slowly hauling it away and it's like, okay, it's just taking longer than expected. Like they're not. And the one neighbor who was here last time said it's getting worse.
Yeah.
All right.
Is the county involved? Is it because the taxes come from them, or they send out tax bills?
Correct. Yep. That's our mechanism to recoup those costs. Is this through our tax process?
So they really end up owning the property then if the people default on paying, and that's why then we don't have a say in selling the property. So.
Essentially, so they're kind of the steward of the property once it hits forfeiture, and then they have the responsibility of moving that and hopefully getting it back on the tax roll. So they're kind of the intermediate. It's in their best interest to get it on the tax roll as well, because then now you're collecting taxes for the community.
But if it's been cleaned up, what is it? How many acres?
10 acres.
10 acres. It's a 10-acre parcel in Minnetrista. 10-acre parcel goes for what, 350, 400?
It's assessed at 342.
Okay.
8.
So 350.
Next year's 343.3.
Yeah. So.
They bought her for $69,000 in 1978.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is if it's cleaned up, yes, they could bring more stuff on, but if it's cleaned up and they don't pay the 100,000, let's just say, then it could be sold, and it could be sold for 350,000 or. It's cleaned up. Nobody's going to buy it. I mean, like this.
Oh.
So we would actually be doing them a favor.
Yeah, but we're spending a lot of money to get it back in 4 years or something,
Yeah.
But I think it's our responsibility to,
Yeah, you're right.
like you're saying, with the neighbors and the city in general.
Okay.
So
we
what we
want to
could
do the
do,
next step, or?
what we could do is bring a nuisance declaration resolution on the 1st. That would be a business item. And then also we could have the abatement order drafted up. I know Sarah has a template for that. And then that's essentially allows, at some point in time, how it's described in the abatement order, allows us to get an administrative search warrant to access the site. And then we would be able to do it. So think about terms, timelines, things like that, as far as what you want to put in the abatement order. Likely it'd be probably executing the abatement order. You could do it that night if you wanted, or you could do it, get the terms and bring it to the next meeting. So kind of think about like your time, your window that you want to see something completed. If it's 2 weeks, if it's a month, if it's,
You mean having it abated?
yes.
Okay. I mean,
Just curious too, how much liability are we taking on if we do abate it? So let's say we get there and find there's a bunch of waste oil been dumped on or some other super fund. Is the city on the hook to clean that kind of stuff up?
Right now, it's strictly nuisance based, so it's aesthetics. The environmental stuff is something that would likely get worked out if there would be a land sale, where hopefully somebody would do their due diligence and do an environmental assessment of the property. But not that I'm aware of. I know Sarah turned her camera on. Maybe she's got something else to add.
Sarah?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I don't have much. Just to clarify the process, we would be, this is a huge cleanup effort, so we would want to make sure we bring in action in court that would allow us to abate it and get on the property before because our ordinance actually says we can just go on the property and start taking stuff away. And I would not recommend that. I think we need a court order to allow for that. So once you authorize the abatement, we would serve that on him. And then if he doesn't respond or doesn't clean it up within the requisite amount of time that you give him, then we would bring a court action to basically ask for an order that would allow us to go on the property and abate the nuisance. And then, that way he can't say we went on the property illegally and we took things that we shouldn't have taken. And, it gives the city some protection.
Okay. So Sarah, then in your opinion, what would be a reasonable time frame? Like if we notify him, let's just say after the June 1st meeting, and we say you have to have it abated by August 1st. Is that a reasonable time frame?
I don't know. I saw the video. But then you don't want to give him too much time. I think you kind of want him to feel some pressure.
Right.
So I don't know if 90 days, maybe. Obviously we can negotiate. Let's say he does respond to it and say, I'd like more time, then we can talk with him about that.
They've known forever we want this clean. Well, I don't think we need to give them that much time. They know.
You'd need to hire a huge.
I know, but
when we've been saying, you need to clean it up, you need to clean it up, and they know that. But now with this abatement order, it's like you have to have it cleaned up by this date, otherwise we're coming in.
Yeah, they've got big trucks. It doesn't take 3 months to clean that up.
Well,
I guess the timing, depending on when, if we'd want something on the property taxes for next year, it would almost have to be notification of this is going to be certified. That's got to happen by September, October. Also, just I guess as an FYI, if we want it to be like, a lien or money against the property, it would have to happen by late summer, fall here, the proper notifications and stuff to certify.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, one other thing I'd like to point out is, this is going to have to go through the court process, and you kind of just finish this up with somebody else, and it's going to take some time.
Okay.
You're budgeting for it.
Well, it doesn't have to go through the court process.
Well, it might, though, is what I think Sarah's saying. So
He's got an attorney there to fight it.
okay, so I would say August 1st at the earliest, or that's not even, that would be 6 weeks, because if we meet on the 1st, we send them the notice. How long does that take? Another week or so. So we're talking mid-June, and they've been given a date of August 1st?
Sure, no later than August 1st.
Brian?
Concur.
Okay.
Seems pretty short to me,
But they know.
Okay, how many are for August 1st? How many are for September 1st?
I'm for August 1st.
August 1st.
All right, there you go. Three against one. August 1st, that's the time. And we'll go from there.
a lot of stuff.
Look, I'll work with Sarah to get those things drafted up for the meeting on the 1st.
For the 1st, okay. For the June 1st for our meeting. Okay. Okay, anything else? All right.
I think I do.
Next, we'll move on to utility billing process and analysis.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, members of City Council, there's been a lot of information shared on this topic, both in the packet and then some subsequent emails that went out today. and a little bit on Friday too. So I think what we're looking at for staff direction, or we're looking for with staff direction, is just how to proceed with this item related to the outsourcing versus the internal printing and mailing of bills. So I'll stand for questions. We have Brian here as well, who's been kind of leading the project.
Okay, Brian, do you have anything you want to add?
Not too much. I guess I shouldn't miss too many meetings. No, I'm kidding. I was at a band concert for my daughter, her last one, so it's a tough week. Or no, I was going to say that she graduates Friday, so hopefully I won't be too emotional. It's my baby girl. So that's where I was at last a couple weeks ago. So I know I'm not as tough as I look, right? Or tough. So I mean, I guess it, maybe to piggyback on Jasper's, I guess I feel like we've done a fair analysis of the process. We're obviously not asking for any additional staff at this time or anything. I think we'd all concur that there's going to be some extra time in the utility billing process with going from monthly to or quarterly to monthly for the water users, just based on just that many more touch points and that many more bills and, back and forth with our residents, I guess, and a good back and forth, I guess. There are just probably a lot of questions and stuff. So I guess when I compare it to other things that we analyze sometimes, if there's something that we can potentially outsource and make a little more streamlined, or let's, company that does it more often, more frequently, can do it at a better cost or price point. I guess to me, the decision seems like pretty logical to go with contracting with InfoSend to help with this, small part of the utility billing process and going to that monthly change. So
okay,
I'll leave it at that.
And is it actually going to cost us less to go with Info? I think they have fewer, their cost is a little bit less.
Yeah, I think just economies of scale and stuff, it is a better cost, as well as probably just they're doing it all the time. They've promised they can turn it around within usually a day, day or two or whatever, once they get the whatever file, either a CSV or PDF file. We've talked to New Brighton and Anoka, and they both were happy with the service they get from them. I mean, we've talked to some other people, and they said don't use Opus, or there's been some things we've learned in the process as far as who not to use. We talked to Greater Minnesota Communications, who we outsource our newsletter printing process, the local one. I know they do more like smaller cities, I think like Watertown and my city, Mayor, and Winston and stuff, and they were a higher price point, and plus not as quick a turnaround. They were more like, well, we'll get it out in 3 or 4 days, I guess is what.
See, that's my concern, getting it out timely, because people expect to get their bills on time, and then also making sure that they're accurate. And I know that there's some that they would want enough time ahead to do a practice run kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they said it's going to be probably a 2.5, 3 month process to get everything coordinated. Hopefully closer to the 2.5 than 3 months. But I know Renee's spoken with them, and there is some back and forth in getting it set up. So that's where there's some timeliness of hopefully being able to let them know sooner rather than later, hopefully tomorrow, that we can proceed. So that's, I guess, why we're obviously looking for an answer for that as well.
What kind of access would we have to their system? So say if somebody's questioning their bill, we would have the raw data.
It's all our data. All they're pretty much helping us do is just disseminate and get the sort postage and get them out. It's going to be pretty much staff. Mainly Renee is still going to be working with the residents with. I mean, it's generated by obviously Public Works getting the reads and getting it coordinating with finance and mainly Renee and getting them out. So it's not like we're going to lose any customer service or whatever by outsourcing it. Pretty much is.
And all the data will live here at City Hall.
And I saw a lot of discussion of the hours that staff would take with with this approach, or say bringing it in-house. But I didn't see what the hourly cost would be, and maybe I missed that. But roughly staff time, what would that equate per hour?
Yeah, just for the outsourcing piece, we estimated it'd be about 8 hours to do the printing and stuffing if we had the proper machine, the proper stuffer. So about 8 hours every month is what this portion is.
And what would be that
Dollars.
cost?
Oh, dollars. So let's see, 45. The cost is 45 times 8, so whatever that is. I can do that quick.
360.
360. So $360.
Okay, so outsourcing it, we'd still have roughly 8 hours of cost for staff time, but.
No, we wouldn't have those 8 hours. We would still have, we'd still have staff time, but we wouldn't have the 8 hours of staff time to print and fold and mail.
Well, they wouldn't.
But how much time, I thought it was, how much time will the staff time be if we outsource it? Because there'd still be some.
They'll still have to do everything besides print it and put it in the machine to fold it and put it in the envelope. So all the other stuff will still be staff time, collecting the info, putting it in the system, putting it in the spreadsheet, all of that would still be
Well, that
on
was my
staff.
question of how much time is that, and I kind of try to get a dollar figure there.
Yeah, so it's the net difference between what we do quarterly versus what I think we'll do in monthly, which we don't exactly know because we haven't done it yet. It's like 672 hours is annually.
That's the difference.
That's the difference between quarterly to monthly is what we're estimating. And a portion of that 8 hours, or that'd be 96 hours a year, is related to the stuffing of the envelopes and printing. So kind of a small part. Most of it is customer service, people emailing and calling. And right now, just quarterly, we're getting about, I don't take many of these unless it escalates, but Renee and the team up front take about 40 hours every time we send out a bill in customer service, questions and emails and things of that nature. We're estimating that that's probably going to go up every time with the at least at first with the monthly bill because of a lot of questions and more information. There's always going to be a little confusion. So that should go down to maybe 40 hours every month, but that's still that's the most significant portion of our staff time for this processing.
So basically, we're trying to outsource the most painful part of the process. I guess there's going to be an additional hours based on just going to monthly or quarterly, but it's like the part just for finishing it off with printing and stuff that's going to come around 12 months instead of 4 now. And we're going to be doing sheets of paper versus postcards and stuff. I guess when we looked at it, it was more efficient, more cost effective to outsource a slice of the process than do the whole thing in-house. That's, I guess, what I would boil it down to. We're sort of getting into 600 hours versus, is it 100 hours of the 600? We're making this a little more complicated, I think, than it needs to be.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to be, I'm trying to just keep this matter of fact and logical. We're just trying to help our staff be as efficient as possible, and it's still and they're able to obtain a better rate for finishing off the process
Right.
than we are internally.
Right.
So that's.
But the other thing that you're missing is the redundancy. We have no redundancy. So if Renee is sick and then let's say she's not able to do this, then we have to have other staff people step in, and then they're having to do double duty, so to speak. And then if the machine breaks down and then you have to wait a couple days for it to get fixed, all of those things, we don't have that redundancy. And that's a big issue. Plus, if they can do it cheaper, if they can do that last step, the last step is what we're asking them, what we're looking at for outsourcing. That last step, they can do cheaper than we can do in-house.
It's cheaper, then let's do it.
Yeah.
We don't know that it's cheaper because we haven't done it. We don't know what the actual costs are. We don't know how many people will sign up for paperless billing. And apparently even if they sign up now, they still have to re-sign up. So we have no idea how many bills will actually need to be printed. We have no idea the time.
But
we're not even trying it. We're just outsourcing staff's jobs.
It's not their job, though, currently, to do it on a monthly basis. And that's what's creating this need to outsource it. And in the future, even if we did it continue to do it quarterly, we still might want to outsource it because it's still cheaper to do this portion of it.
Why don't we just outsource all billing?
That's what we're doing.
No, everything, all of it.
Ask Mound how that went. Call the city of Mound and ask how that's going for them.
Yeah.
It's not going well.
I just think, and here's the other thing. I look to staff and I say, okay, tell us what you need.
They didn't tell us what they needed. They did this, stuck it on a consent agenda item without council approval, and now want us to approve it. They didn't tell us. They didn't come to us and say, this is what's going to happen. This is the issues. We've looked at this. We've looked at this. We investigated this. One of the quotes we got, they requested on the 16th.
So here's.
That's not okay. And my issue.
But I'm not gonna sit
Try
here.
it.
Okay, here's the thing. They've done their homework, and it's in front of us here. It's in our packet, and the homework says, and the numbers say it's cheaper to outsource it. That's the fact. That's not whether they did something before or didn't do something. The fact today is, here are the numbers, here's the facts. Here, it's cheaper to outsource this. We don't have the redundancy. We don't have the capacity unless we want to maybe pay overtime, do this, do that, do a whole bunch of other things. So I'm not going to get mad about something that maybe they thought they should have done, but they didn't, or they did something that maybe you thought they shouldn't have done. Either way, I just look at this, I look at the stats, I look at the numbers, and I say it makes no sense to do it in-house. I'm not going to spend more tax dollars or more money from the water people than we have to, and that's what we would have to do.
So you're just going to blindly sign a
hold on.
3-year contract without even trying for staff to do it?
That's correct.
Madam Mayor, can we incentivize our residents to some way to sign up for paperless billing? Is there a way to do that?
There might be, but I think too, when you think about, there's only about 20% of people that have been, inundated with sign up for paperless billing, sign up for paperless billing. Not everybody does it. And not everybody wants, even if they sign up, they like to get their paper bill for some reason or other. So even if we say, okay, 20% are going to sign up for paperless billing, even if it's 30% or 40%, we still have to outsource, or we still have to send out paper bills.
Right, but I wonder, if we agree to use this process, could we have a note on there saying, you save $12 a year if you.
And we could look at something like that.
Like a little note on there. Yeah. And then wouldn't it be great if after, at 3 years, everyone signed up and then we can terminate them?
Right. And we can.
Is that just crazy thought?
If I may, yeah. I've done this in the past. We've done like a $10 bill credit if you sign up for paperless. You've maybe seen it on some of your other bills that you've gotten. We could examine doing that. It does get some additional participation. Ideally, if we can get 35 to 40%, that's about as good as it gets. If we get more than that, that's excellent. I think I alluded in one of the correspondence that I live in Savage. I talked to Savage today, and they've been doing paperless opt-outs for 15 years, and they're at 20%. And every single bill I get, I have paperless, but every bill I see in my email tells you exactly how to do it. And we'll continue to do that. We'll have that on the backside of the bills if we go with the outsourcing or in-house processing too.
I just think if you had a little red asterisk and red sentence at the bottom that said, in January, you'll get $12 off your bill if you sign up for paper. It's $1 a month, and it's about probably what it costs. And
and that's not a bad idea.
Free. It's a sentence on the bottom of the bill.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a thought.
If that's something we'd like to do, we can definitely market it.
And we're going to try and market this to, sign up for paperless. It's, yeah.
I think we have to trust.
But we're also a growing.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, but we're also a growing community.
Is it cheaper or not cheaper?
It is cheaper.
Yeah, I
do it for a living. The 10% company does it for its economies of scale. Yeah, it is. I just wish, I was going to say.
Brian does not, Brian G, does not recommend things, spending more money. He's always like, no, we can spend less. So when he recommends something, to me, that says a lot.
I want to be tied with him on that.
Okay.
I wish we would have looked more at conservation and if we wanted to try to manage what residents, we signed a $20 million contract and we had less discussion on that than we're having on the switch.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're working on a $28 million water treatment plant, and we're talking about a savings of what, $6,000?
Yeah, basically 20 cents per whatever mailing or whatever it is. So.
You shouldn't word it like that.
That's what it is,
That's
though.
not what it is.
What is it then?
Okay, well, where are the five, where is reaching out to other companies and finding out who else does this? Where was that? Because the only quote that I saw other than this InfoSend one was the one that we requested on the 16th. So why didn't we reach out to other companies? Why didn't we do more research? Why wasn't it brought back with multiple quote packages saying, here's what this company can do, here's what this company can do, here's what this is going to cost, here's what this is going to cost. So you can keep saying it's going to save money, and it might, but the background and the due diligence that should have been done before this was brought to council was not done. And I want to believe that it will save money because I do think you watch our money very, very closely. But I don't feel that way, especially now when I can break apart all the line items of things that are in there quite easily, and you just respond, I don't agree with that. So to me, I don't feel confident saying this is going to save us money.
We've spent a lot of time on this.
Yes, since the 4th.
I'm sorry, let one person at a time.
All of the quotes that we got, I'm not sure where you're getting this, but Brian's team has been working on this since March, and they've been in communication with the InfoSend in Greater Minnesota since March. So we've been talking to them. They've met with them. They've done the brunt of the work. So I don't know where that's coming from.
I'm looking at the date on the email I got today for the quote.
So, Jasper?
From March 19th. I guess.
All right. So you're not upset about the cost, you're upset about the process. So here's the thing, if we want to get this thing done this year and we want to save some money, this is what staff is recommending. They're not going to recommend this if it's not a good deal. And they're not going to recommend it if it's something we don't need. And that's, so we can argue about the process, we can, all you want, and maybe that needs to be a discussion that you need to have with staff off camera so you can battle it out. But today, our charge is, do we want to do this or not? That's the question. That's the question. Do we want to outsource this or not? And we can't sit here and keep arguing about the process because we're not going to get anywhere, and it's staff is telling us they've looked at other vendors and this is the one that they think is the best, and it can save us $6,000 a year. So I'm baffled as to why this isn't a good thing. So that's where I'm coming from. Peter?
I think it makes sense because, when I think office, the problems we always had was with the printer or with mailings, and those were the things that always caused trouble. And so I really like the idea of having somebody else have to deal with that technology, and they just provide the product to us. So I like that, and I like that it seems incredibly inexpensive to me, and it frees up staff time. So I think it's a really good idea.
Okay, Claudia?
I guess what I'm maybe hearing Kathleen say is that we didn't see all of the other organizations that offer this service. We left that up to you, and you did your due diligence, and you came back with this is the best option. I have to believe that you're used to looking at these things more than I am, and that you would make the best choice, and you want to spend less money, so just as I do. So I understand not having all the information in front of us, but I do trust that the staff can evaluate what's the best route, so.
Okay, Brian?
Yeah, looking at the analysis, the math is the math. The only part that I think is probably not really tied down tightly would be the staff time, but even if you back out that to zero, it's still 20 cents cheaper per billing to outsource it, so I'm aligned with that.
All right. So it sounds like we're in line with bringing this back
to the regular meeting, if we can add it so we can do the contract that was in the packet from 2 weeks ago with InfoSend, I guess, if that would be amenable to the council.
Okay, so we'll bring that back to our regular meeting. You want it under business item?
That's fine.
Yes.
All right. business item in the in between time, then you'll type something, a resolution or whatever. Okay? All right. And then we have an update on the boulevard tree replacement in Hunter's Crest and discuss potential cost share for replacement of ash tree removal.
Madam Mayor, we can punt this to another work session too, if we want to wrap it up, or we can, it's up to you.
Well,
Let's do it.
Just get it over with.
okay,
All right.
there's a shorter break.
Yeah, Allison is leading the charge on this.
I can be very brief. Mayor Whalen, members of council's Public Works staff has been removing dead ash trees throughout the winter, and they recently were in the Hunter's Crest neighborhood, and some of the trees removed are within the boulevard. And so in anticipation of some residents calling in, they have, to my knowledge, they haven't yet, but we just wanted to bring this to council's attention in the event that staff is approached with by a resident or a homeowners association requesting a tree replacement. If that's something that the council would like staff to look into, I was looking at, just to give you an idea of what it costs for a replacement tree, back from a previous street project, we are looking at about $600 each. So if council is amenable or wants more information, I can certainly provide it to you. One of the things that we would like direction on from the council ultimately, if council is interested in replacing some of the trees, do you want them replaced 1-to-1, each one removed gets replaced, 2-to-1, is it as needed? So just, again, just wanted to bring it in front of council, let you know what's going on. Again, we haven't heard any feedback, but we just anticipate with the ash trees going down as they are that we will likely get a call from a resident or a homeowners association.
I think we replace as requested by a homeowner within reason. But
Well,
not
we're going
one-to-one.
to take them, we're going to remove them if they're dead, right? I mean, so that's our
Correct.
responsibility.
Correct.
It's a matter of whether or not we replace it. And so if a resident would like it replaced, then I think there could be a cost share.
Okay.
Maybe a 50-50. I'm just throwing,
They might not want a tree there.
yeah, I mean, we can, yeah.
Are there any grants available from the state or the DNR?
There are from Hennepin County.
Yep, there are, and we can certainly look into that as well if that's something that the
Yeah,
council would like to
we
look at.
should, yeah.
And so a suggestion then could be is if we start getting requests, we could start tracking those, come back to council with, what we're starting to hear. One of the things that Public Works did mention is if we are looking at a tree replacement, that it would not be within the right of way, that it would be on the property, a private property, so it becomes their ownership and responsibility, not the city's.
Yes.
So we can
All the
certainly.
better.
Sounds like Gary.
Madam Mayor, if I may, we did apply for Hennepin County tree grant earlier this spring, but we were denied.
Why? We need to talk to them. Okay. All right. I think there's certain, well, anyhow, I'll talk to staff about that because I think that they have a lot of money for trees and not a lot of people are applying. So I'm not sure why we were denied.
If I may, there are a lot of people that are applying because
Now.
this is a common problem in most municipalities
Yeah.
that planted a lot of ash trees 20 to
Right.
30
I mean,
years
we
ago.
have a healthy tree budget. So, I mean, if they call and want the tree replaced, then we put it on their property.
Yep.
So if I may, Mayor and Council, an option is to just, if we start getting those requests, say at this time, we don't have an official policy, but we are tracking the requests and that once we get, I don't know, maybe 10 requests that we come back to council and say, this is what we've heard so far. And it would also be an opportunity to update the council where Public Works is at as far as ash tree removal, so that are they done for the year? Because there are certain dates that I believe you don't do tree clearing anymore.
You can do tree clearing anytime during the year, but you just don't want to plant them anytime. So, okay, yeah, come back with that.
Okay.
All right. That concludes our work session items. Is there's a motion to adjourn? We can be adjourned until 6:30.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Peter. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. 5-0. We'll reconvene at 6:30 for our regular council meeting.
Oh, yeah, here, I'll show.
All right.